Hey. Here we go. Woohoo!
Step inside the Smashbox with Johnny V and Terry Miller, the disc golf guy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's Maple Hill Day Number 2 podcast. I'm joined here in studio by AJ Risley, and AJ,
Hello.
it's been a long day. It's going to be an even longer night at this rate.
It might be. We'll see.
Okay, that's what you say.
Uh-oh.
I think we got video bombed already.
30 seconds into the show.
That didn't
Video
take
bomb
long.
#1.
So tonight, game night is going on, and it is absolute chaos up here.
This is doubles game.
Doubles game night, yes.
Double your pleasure, double your fun. Something.
And
double
Madison
meat.
Walker is trying to air out her armpits. I'm not sure what she's attempting to
She's
do,
doing
but
a little shadow dog on
oh, that's what she's doing. So, I'm going to actually cut you guys loose in that I'm going to step outside the Smash Box.
Oh,
Hey,
so it took us like an extra 20 minutes to get a hold of you, and then you're running away.
I know. I'm so sorry. There's been nothing but, besides the chaos, there's been
an
internet
ice cream
problems.
social.
There's been an ice cream social. There's been internet problems and an ice cream social.
Yep.
I had issues with one or the other, maybe. And I just feel like we're more qualified. I'm going to let AJ Risley and Dana Vici step in for now. I'm going to come back a little later. We're going to have some guests. Paul McBeth just showed up. Madison Walker, Paige Bierkis. I see a bunch of our top players are all hanging out in here. So I know we're going to get them in here and talking to us. But for now, I'm going to let Dana and AJ sit in and get you guys caught up as best as they can. So I'm stepping outside the Smash Box. Here's AJ, and here's Dana.
Hey, Terry. Real quick, when you get up, just turn the camera a little bit to my left so AJ is a little closer to the edge. That's all.
Okay.
We're good then.
Whatever you said.
He's on it.
Here's Dana.
We'll line you guys up so you guys look pretty. I don't want Dana to be cut off at all. He looks too good.
Wait, I heard someone was saying I looked homeless today.
Other way. Tell Terry to push it the other direction. There you go. Perfect. We're good. Perfect. So we're good. Perfect. We are awesome, guys. This is awesome. We have the entire playhouse without Terry. What are we gonna do?
I don't know.
This is awesome. Hey, go on. We're fine.
Shoo him away. We're going to point at him and laugh.
That's fine.
Yep.
Oh, man. You got a pretty good fake laugh.
Hey.
Hey, Dana.
Me and Terry have started out with a big hug.
Okay.
So let's bring it.
All right.
That was a little weird.
A little weird. I closed my eyes.
Was that awkward, guys?
Just not as much cushion as what Terry normally provides.
No, that was I misjudged. Are we live? Is that on live Smashbox?
I think we are live. Okay. Yeah, we are live.
Beautiful.
And someone was calling you a homeless person today?
That's
Not directly, I
That's
hope.
what Johnny mentioned to me. He said, "Who's this homeless guy doing the whole previews?"
Someone had asked who the homeless guy doing the whole previews was.
Well,
like the
they're probably not a smashy because if they were, they would know that I bought a house this winter.
with bricks and everything.
True.
Yeah. Did you move into that house?
Yeah, a long time ago. You guys, I guess you don't tune in either.
So Dana, how did your round go today?
Oh man, so I had quite the card today. It was myself, Jay Redding, John Baldwin, and Bobby Music.
Oh, so I was gonna say, were you the young guy on the card?
I was. I think Bobby's got a year on me, but
okay.
So yeah. But it was an older card. It was a calm, cool, peaceful card. Wasn't a. You know what?
Sounds like
a bunch of great guys,
yeah.
but by the end, I was ready to hear someone swearing, maybe kicking a bag.
Yeah, I mean, now that I think about it, no complaining, nothing to really shake your head at in that group.
I mean, I'm the worst. I have the worst attitude on the card.
Yeah, if you got the most pro-like attitude on the card, then saying something about those
Yeah.
other three guys.
But yeah, my card. We had a good card, good group, but none of us really got it going. Myself included. Bobby Music. It was my first time playing with him. Very nice guy. He had a pretty solid round. He finished the round with a 5 on 18, which put him at a 59. And
Still a solid score.
yeah, very very solid score. It was a quiet 59, and then Jay Redding and Jonathan Baldwin. Neither of them really threw too well, and myself included. Yeti and I shot 64s, and JB went birdie to shoot a 63.
Ooh, birdie at the end. That's always nice.
Yeah, he made a couple really nice shots there at the end, and scrounged it together for a 63, which it's not a great round, but there's so many par fours out here.
You know what's really nice? Going birdie to finish your round.
Oh, that sounds like Greg Barsby.
Yeah.
Sounds very Barsby-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that the
'cause
right answer?
that is the right answer. He was shooting kind of mediocre, or I wouldn't say mediocre, real average up until then. And then suddenly he put on the afterburners and brought it home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he on the front 9, Greg Barsby shot course par,
Yep.
and then from there, yeah, he birdied 8 out of 9 on the back. The only hole he did not birdie was hole 11.
Wow.
That's good.
It is pretty good. I mean, hole 11 is a toughie, but there's definitely, I mean, hole 12 is kind of pretty tricky.
Yeah.
Hole 16's tough to birdie, so the fact that he got those two and made up for missing 11, it's
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that no one is gonna shoot the back 9 better than Greg did today.
Oh, hands down. No way.
Unless McBeth gets down this third round and has to come back final round, that's the only way someone's gonna shoot better.
Ooh. I don't see that happening.
No.
Well, I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, eight down on the back 9. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Back 9's tough. So what did I do today?
No,
Oh.
AJ, you got to see the lead card, as did I, but you kind of got more of an up close and personal feel with them. What?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. How did that card go? There was obviously some conspiracy is not the right word. There was some.
Just go ahead and say it. Disc golf drama.
There was disc golf drama. You're right. There was disc golf drama on hole 16, I believe it was.
Hole 16. Yep.
Is there a hashtag in there? Hashtag disc golf drama?
No, it's
Hashtag
called Swampgate.
Ooh, it is called Swampgate.
That's what all the cool kids are calling it, Swampgate.
Yeah.
All right, so
McBeth just getting into trouble left and right. USDGC, he had Chairgate. Here at the Maple Hill Open, he's got Swampgate.
So
That's about it.
for those of us, myself included, that don't know what happened, I heard there was some sort of OB call, but what hole was it on?
Okay, so it was hole 16. Threw his drive a little bit on the left side, and it got a kick to the left. And as some of you know, if you've watched any of the whole previews, I think the whole preview for 16, Kale LaVisca talked about a kick to the left will put you in the pond over there. The thing is, the pond, the actual water, is way left. But in between the pond and there's a little dirt road, there's some marshy, swampy areas, hence swamp. So he kicked over into that marsh and was in a questionable spot. Ricky Wysocki walked up and thought that he was maybe on an island in the pond. So he thought there was safe inbounds area, and then water, OB, and then marshy area where Paul's disc was, therefore being out of bounds. But the thing is, it was kind of a vague area. There was no paint on the ground. There was no string, no rope, nothing to mark OB. So
basically it was up in the air.
Yeah, benefit goes to the player.
Is
And
that-
Sorry?
Is that how it ended up being ruled? Because no one really knows. No one's heard whether someone said that Steve Dodge was going to go out and look at it with his brother or somebody and take a look.
Yeah, Steve Dodge ended up. Once the round was over, they found Steve Dodge. I think his cell phone had died, and they found him in the scoring booth and talked to him about it. And then I think he and Michael Downs went down there to take a look.
And that's Mike Downs from PDGA.
Yes, Mike Downs, PDGA events coordinator. So yeah, I think they took a look and they called it safe because like I said, I mean, there was no rope, no defined OB line, and
just that marshland. I've been in some places like that here at Maple Hill, and if they don't have the rope down, it can be a little questionable, and it can leave it up for interpretation. And it sounds like Rick didn't quite agree. I heard, did I hear Paul Ulibarri thought it was inbounds?
Yeah.
Just because it was too hard to call,
Yeah, Ulibarri thought it was inbounds. A little bit that where they're going to call it, where if he was out of bounds, where would Paul end up taking it from the last spot? It was inbounds.
Yeah.
So that part was kind of up in the air, and they just wanted to call it. They wanted to call it inbounds and move on.
Okay.
There was a little bit of a discrepancy.
So looking at the scores, Beth did take a 3, which is a par on hole 16. So after he parred that and then went birdie to finish out. And one thing I was wondering about, Dan Hastings, a name that many of you might not recognize. Dan was on the lead card today, correct?
Yeah, he was. He played really well yesterday. He's from Buffalo, New York. Dan Hastings. Right around 1,000 player rating. I think he's been pro for maybe 4 or 5 years.
I
think he came in second to Kenny Glassman at the Rochester Am Worlds.
Rochester Am Worlds. Some of you have been around. Dan actually kind of had a little bit of a meltdown first hole, the final 9 of Am Worlds. He had a lead, and then in his hometown, or I think or home state, whatever. But anyways, he had a very rough first hole. But yesterday, shot hot, and it looks like today. What do you do today?
I think it looks like a -1 today, which anything under par on this course is pretty respectable.
Yeah.
I watched him play the whole round. He didn't show too many nerves. He was really calm, cool, collected on the tees, on the putting green. He made just about every putt within range.
Yeah, Dan is he's always been a really strong putter. Strong forehand game. His backhand, I think, has gotten a lot better the past couple of years. How was his backhand looking today?
His backhand was okay. There were some lines that I thought he was going for that he didn't quite execute the way he needed to. Hole 3, for instance, plays more of a pretty much a flex shot. You start on the left side, have your disc turn over to the right, and then fade back to the left.
Yeah, fade away from the out of bounds.
Yeah. Hole 3?
Oh, 3. So I'm sorry. Yeah.
A little closer
shot.
on the mic, AJ.
Sorry. Little flex shot, and he kind of started with hyzer. Didn't work out for him. Same kind of thing on hole 7. I think he was going for a straight shot. Came out a little hyzer, but
it looks like both those he still ended up taking the par. He only had looks like he had 4 bogeys on the round. Ended his round with a 5. Which I'm sure is unfortunate.
I think he came up short on the green.
Yeah, I know that's got to be a bummer as a sidearm dominant player to miss that green. That's definitely not one that you want to miss. But at the end of the day, he did shoot a 59, and so we've got game night going on.
We've got doubles game night.
Yes,
which is
it's wild,
crazy.
Sounds intense.
Yeah, double the intensity of last night.
Yeah,
these guys are playing bubble hockey. If you're not familiar with bubble hockey, it's like I like to call it foos hockey. If you might know it. Oh man, it's just a little hockey rink, square hockey rink, and you play with little foosball like Turner guys, hockey players that spin around.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool, pretty intense.
But yeah, a lot of cheering going on. So Dan Hastings,
it's like 18's green over
looks
here.
like Dan Hastings is going to be on the second card tomorrow. The lead card tomorrow is looking like Paul McBeth at 17 under, Ricky Wysocki 15 under, Greg Barsby moved up after his good round today. He's at 12, and David Wiggins Jr. It's good to see David back. He's been he's kind of been absent from the tour this year.
I think he's been
School. I believe it was school. He just kind of graduated.
I'm sorry. Could you say that again? What was that, Johnny?
I said I heard he had just graduated or school's over, which is why he's coming now.
Right. Yeah, I think he's still in school, but yeah, this does seem like summer break. So
Yep.
So,
And, so Terry's gonna grab the camera here and give you guys a little peek at what's going on
tour.
at the Snap House at Maple Hill. This is a one you've heard us hype the course, hype the event all week long, and now the Sap House has all these games, pool table, air hockey, all this stuff, and it's just a whole nother element. It used to just be ping pong and poker.
Yeah, I think there was like a pool table pushed to the side or something.
Yeah, it wasn't even in use, and now theyve got Steve Dodge's orchestra. Yeah, Steve Dodge.
Hashtag Steve Dodge.
Steve Dodge.
Steve Dodge.
He's
Steve Dodge has got billiards. He's got a little bit of air hockey.
Yeah.
Got, over there, he's got the shuffleboard. He's got some foosball, a little bit of skee ball. Pretty much any kind of ball, you name it, he's got
lots of balls.
He's going for the basket. He was talking about a basketball hoop, some kind of basketball arcade game.
Yeah. So if you guys are, I'm going to interrupt AJ here. He's talking with the Boston accent.
Oh yeah.
When you're out here on the East Coast for more than 2 days, you naturally start
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard not to
saying wicked
it's hard
and
not to notice it. It's hard not to fall in love with it and hate it at the same time.
Yeah, I kind of hate you now.
Yeah, because and it's kind of hard not to want to impersonate it 24/7. But anyways, yeah, Sap House is
happening.
It's hopping. I said popping.
Yeah. Anyways, wow, we kind of got off track. But so David Wiggins, he is off school. He's going to school down in New Orleans, and he started his round out with 5 straight birdies.
5 birds.
And then finished his round with 4 straight birdies. In between was not too hot, but
3 bogeys and the rest pars, but
yeah, good enough for a 54 and to shoot him up onto that lead card. So you guys will get to enjoy the joy and
some
awesomeness.
big bombs.
Yeah,
big bombs from David Wiggins.
Wicked
maybe
fa.
some world championship putting from him as well.
Oh yeah,
I think he's got one of those titles under the belt.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive card. McBeth, Wysocki, Barsby, and Wiggins. I think it's going to be interesting to see if they feed off each other, because with Wiggins having the big arm that he does, I mean, look at he's one of the only threes, or what I count in the top 20. There were only 3 birdies, maybe 4 in the on hole 1. I don't know.
Looks like there's a handful.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All right. Oh yeah. I suppose if I scroll down a little more, it helps.
Yeah.
But
we got the full screen live scoring.
yeah, which So I don't know. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch if he can repeat that start or that finish, for that matter.
Yeah. At this point, though, it definitely is looking like a 2-horse race. I mean, we do have 36 holes to go, but
we'll see.
the top 2 have distanced themselves.
Anything can happen, really. I mean, Ricky threw in the water on hole 1, and I think McBeth and Ulibarri threw the bounds on the green on hole 1. So I mean, if one person does both of those things on the same hole,
Wow.
not good.
They're gonna need a calculator.
Yeah,
They're not used to taking those big numbers.
Swing hole, as Dana would say, swing hole.
Yep. There are some swing holes out here.
There's a few. None with actual rope swings. That would be wicked awesome.
Now, do you think with the weather coming in on Sunday, it looks like it might be a little nasty on Sunday? Do you think that do you think someone needs to make a move tomorrow? Do you think they'll be more conservative on Sunday? Or with the weather, do you think there'll be a bigger swing?
I think, I think with the weather, we'll see a bigger swing. And also, yes, that first question, I think tomorrow you'll see I don't know, tomorrow you'll probably see a few really good rounds, a few players who got aggressive and it worked. I think if Jeremy Colling can shoot 55 or better, which is definitely within his range, he's got a chance of winning on Sunday. Because if you remember last year, second round on Friday took place in.
Wait, did you just say? Who did you say?
I said Jeremy Colling.
No, you're out of your mind. He's not winning.
Jeremy Colling currently is at 6 under par, 11 strokes behind Paul McBeth.
Not happening.
Sorry, he's gonna have to beat Paul by
12 strokes.
Tomorrow, 7 Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's possible if he has 2 rounds of his life. I would be more likely to see Schustrick come back than it's more likely Schustrick's going to come back than Colling.
Okay.
Or anybody above Schustrick obviously can catch McBeth or Wysocki. I'm not saying McBeth has it wrapped up by any means. Wysocki is right there. But if you're talking about maybe comeback players, I think Colling's just a little too far out.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is we'll see, because last year, round 2 was lots of rain, and it was maybe 50, 60 degrees the whole time, so lots of rain and really cold, and Jeremy shot a 56 in that weather. So, I mean, if he can do that or do something better, if it's going to be bad conditions, who knows?
All right, so everybody heard it.
There you go. That's my
Disc Golf Boy says Jeremy
Max
Colling.
Nichols is your 2015 Maple Hill Open champion.
Oh, now he's flip-flopping to Max
gosh.
Nichols. What's going on here, Johnny?
He just wants a free dinner because he thinks if Max Nichols wins, he'll get free dinner out of it or something.
Free Lunchables, I think you mean.
Either way.
Are Dinnerables a thing? It doesn't really roll off the tongue.
No.
Dang it. Dinnerables.
You're on fire with those hashtags.
Killing it. So, yeah, I mean, I got to watch a pretty good card, a lot of action, some ups and downs. Paul McBeth didn't really have the hot start he had yesterday. He definitely made a few mistakes. It's kind of interesting being a spectator / videographer for the same person multiple rounds, especially when you're more spectating them and not caddying. You kind of, by the second round, you kind of learn their patterns, like, oh yeah, he's throwing the same disc, or oh, he switched discs because of this, or he missed the line and whatnot. The first 5 or 6 holes were a little different for Paul. He turned over his drive on hole 1, stayed safe, and then threw an amazing second shot. I was editing the round video, and I don't know if I got the best angle, but it was a pretty great shot to go OB on the green, from where he was. You'll see it.
And if you fly the green on 1, you essentially have a drop in.
Right.
If you go over the basket, fly the green.
If you go OB on that outer light bulb area, whatever, drop in. And then he still has trouble with hole 3 or hole 4 going down the hill. He just hasn't really got that line down.
What is he throwing on that? He's going up the gut. He's going down the gut, obviously. Is he throwing a rock 3 or a putter?
Yesterday he threw a Nova, and I think he sawed it off a little bit left. Today he threw a Mako 3 and sawed it off even worse. Still got the 3. Hole 9, he hit one of the trees on the left, one of the early trees on the left, going up and over the hill. And a few holes later, Jeremy Colling thusly dubbed it the McBeth tree, because, quoting him, you can't hit a tree 4 times in a row and not have it named after you.
So he's hit that.
That's the McBeth tree, 4 times in a row.
All right.
Yeah.
So someone on the board, Dana, asked, how many times do you need to play a course to feel comfortable on it before a tournament?
Well, that's a pretty good question. A course like this, I'm definitely wanting as many rounds as possible. This year was my 6th year here, and I only was able to get 2 rounds in, and that was okay because I've been throwing these shots and I've been thinking about these shots and playing these rounds in my head over and over. But to come to a fresh course such as Maple Hill, you definitely want minimum 3 days because one, you're going to want to go out and throw multiple shots one day, and maybe even get in 27 holes of multiple shots. So that's throwing quite a few shots, quite a few hard shots, long shots. So from there, you would want to play some scoring rounds after that and not overdo it. Of course, I'm speaking as a 31-year-old. AJ over here, he might be able to throw, or someone like Ricky, who's throwing multiple shots and multiple putts on every single tee and every single basket. But for me, like a course like this, you want at least 3 rounds, and hopefully one of those rounds is throwing multiple shots, finding the shot that works for you.
Right. I would say if you're asking like a total number of rounds, I would say something about 10 rounds on a course like this for you to feel comfortable or like you know the course. Because air hockey. I think Steve Dodge just took down.
Steve Dodge definitely just took down Terry.
Good.
Well, yeah. So a course like Maple Hill, if a course that is this high caliber, this much quality in one course, the course doesn't change, and everything is right in front of you. All the shots are right in front of you. It's not like there's secret lines, whatever. It's all pretty straightforward, kind of like a little bit like De La Viega, but you just have to hit all your lines. You have to be precise. And so I think, that being said, you play a couple practice rounds before the tournament, and then
you said 10.
I said 10 rounds. So I'm thinking, when I came here my first year, I got in a few practice rounds. I played the tournament, and then the next year I got in a few practice rounds.
And then so you had that 10. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and you're
like something around 10. And now, looking at the course, I mean, I know I know all the hole numbers. I don't have to say, what are you saying? Like hole 11? Okay, we got hole 9, we got 10. Oh, 11. It's like if you say hole 13, if you say whatever hole, I feel like I know exactly what hole you're talking about. I know exactly what I'm trying to do, what the lefty's trying to do, stuff like that.
Well, I think this course is probably even more straightforward than De La, because there are I don't know of any tees where you see a player, especially on the top pros, taking a line that you don't just see, that's not right there. Even at De La, there's a couple spots where there's options. Most of the pros are taking this same shot for every hole. You don't see one guy taking a big Anheuser, another guy shooting through some trees. For the most part, everybody's taking the same lines.
Right, and it's more about finding out how aggressive you want to get and how comfortable you are. Like, let's take hole 6 for instance.
Yep.
Very difficult hole, difficult par 3. You can throw a number of shots. Most likely, you're seeing a lot of mid-range shots out of the lead card and the top players.
Something that's straight the whole way.
Yeah, very straight. But some of them are pulling out like a very straight fairway driver. So I mean, and then you go to hole 7. Greg Barsby, hyped up as usual.
As usual, I hope to see this tomorrow.
Yeah,
to see some hypeness.
I'm sure he'll be putting on a show as usual.
Yeah.
Like he is right now. But yeah, hole 6 and hole 7. Those are some holes where they're very difficult shots, and you definitely want to find out what works for you, because you can go anywhere from mid-range to fairway to even a high-speed driver on 7.
Yeah.
See some of that. So
if you know your limits, if you know your capabilities, and you're not trying to push too hard, it won't take as long to feel comfortable. on this.
Okay. So AJ, I've got two.
Or if you're just really good.
Or if you're really good. But then again, you know your limits, and you know I'm really, really good.
I've got two questions for you, AJ. One, have you now that you are recording, have you learned anything from watching the other guys play and not actually playing? Have you picked anything up? Has anything surprised you? And the other thing was, speaking of surprises, during this past round, were there any moments where your jaw dropped, where you thought, "Oh my God, I can't believe he just did that"?
Right. Okay, your first question, have I learned anything? A couple things. I think mostly what I've learned is what not to do. A couple things what not to do. Hole 12, a very tough hole that starts off going uphill, playing to the right with a slope that goes high right to low left. And I saw a lot of players try to play a hyzer flip going up that hill. Trying to play a hyzer flip, and it just wasn't working for them. You know, they were tailing off. I think 3 of the players on the lead card today tailed off to the left on hole 12. And I just, so that kind of stuck in my mind. Okay, that hole you really gotta jam it up that hill.
Power something over and end up right versus left.
Yeah.
If you miss right, if you miss on that hole, you want to miss right, because even if you're short right, you can shoot down the gap. And even if you bomb a 500-foot shot, but you hyzer left, you're pinched up in the woods and it may not have you're not going to have a look at birdie.
On the lead card, there were 2 4s and 2 5s.
Yeah.
So I've learned a little bit of that. A couple shots, I've learned like new shots, like hole 9. I saw Jeremy Colling throw a thumber, I believe, on hole 9, kind of like a low line thumber, and that's just one way to make sure your disc doesn't go too far left or right. It just goes up and over the hill and penetrates down the fairway. A couple guys threw forehands today, and that worked out really well. But
I'm going to interject. I think it's going to help you watching all this good golf. I know you're videoing and having to focus in on that, and you're thinking about a lot of things with the media side, but watching essentially the lead cards are going to average 1050 all weekend. Sure. You're watching all these great shots. You're seeing all these things. I think even if you don't know it, I think it's gonna help you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm definitely. There's definitely a lot of positives to this decision I made to not play and film instead.
So any
what was the second part of that
any
question?
jaw breaking or jaw breaking?
Oh yeah.
That too, jaw breaking or jaw dropping. Because I can think of one particular shot.
Okay. Is it one of the ones that I sent you?
I don't know. I didn't get a chance to look at the ones you sent me, but it is the one that Terry Instagrammed. Hole 14, McBeth's putt.
Oh, yeah, Paul McBeth's putt on hole 14. Ridiculous. I think he was 40 feet out.
Looking straight at the water.
And 40 feet left of the basket. Yeah. With the water right behind the basket, and just went for it all day, every day. Went for it, smashed it right in the middle of the chains, maybe a little left, but no doubt in his mind. I mean, it was a 100% putt. It wasn't one of those, I'll try to loft it in there so it drops. If I miss, it drops right next to the basket. It was a 100% putt. That was pretty awesome. And actually, yesterday, Kelen Durn, the Amside champion, he was maybe 25 feet out with the same kind of death putt look, and he ran it no question. So,
yeah.
I
mean,
those are pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, round 1, I threw a great drive and had roughly a 25-footer, and I yacked it. It got to me.
Yeah.
I went through my routine, and I just kind of, my head wasn't quite in it for whatever reason, and instead of resetting, I just went ahead and decided to yak it. Yacked all over. Yeah. It stayed in bounds though, so I got the 3. But it's not an easy putt. You're faced with not only missing it and taking the stroke, but possibly going out of bounds and taking strokes for that, and then losing your main putter or your putter. You know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're losing a putter,
shots.
and on top of the fact you're losing a putter as a top pro, you're thinking that's one of the got to get twos.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're entering that section of the course after coming off a
Coming
number
off
of par
11,
fours.
12,
Yeah, you've got 13, and
13,
then
14, 15 of feel like Birdie Alley right there.
Yep. If you need to get a number of those.
Oh, we have a new guest.
Hey, friend, how you doing?
Yeah. The other hole I was thinking.
And 14 really.
Go ahead, Dana.
Go on. I was gonna say, if 14, if that was just grass down there, and like an out of bounds line where the hill is or where the water line is, that hole would be so much easier. And it's that same mindset. You know, tightrope walker. You know, you can do it over a foot over ground, or between two buildings, and you just gotta zone in and not even think about it, and throw the shots that you can just throw the shot. You can't be scared. If you're scared, you're gonna hyzer off, or you're not focused in on making that shot that you can make. And Jonathan Baldwin on my card, he's just, man, he says, I just keep hyzer, keep getting scared, and just like I said, you just gotta trust it. You just gotta throw it. And at the end of the day, that's what you gotta do. And if you want the birdie, or at least a birdie look.
Right. Other jaw-dropping shots. Hole 6, Paul Ulibarri. Mid-range, up the middle the whole way, and he got pin high on that basket.
Yeah.
Pin high, maybe 30 feet left. He threw it straight as a string, as Steve Dodge would say, straight as a string, and he just got all the way down, ducked under the ceiling, and straight down, skipped on the pathway on the left, and was pin high. It was the best drive I've ever seen on hole 6, the hardest hole on the course, and it was pretty cool to watch. I was my jaw dropped.
Nice. Yeah, the only other hole I can think is McBeth's approach on 18 from behind the tree, putting it on the green. He was barely on the green, but he put it on that green.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was in. He was in like the he was in the worst spot of all the drives, and he ended up being in the best spot of all the upshots.
Yeah, he just
apologies if we're just, our live studio audience is rowdy.
Redbeard. Redbeard. They're a little distracting too, playing shuffleboard and whatnot. And then air hockey pucks flying up, almost chopping people's heads off. Long story short, if you're not here, for one thing, if you're not here at the Maple Hill Open right now,
you should be tuned into the podcast.
You're doing something wrong. And also, this is almost might be even more of a statement, more important. If you're here at the Maple Hill Open and you're playing, spectating, volunteering, whatever, and you're not up here for double game night, you're really doing something wrong. I'm just going to say this to any of the players out there watching that are playing in this tournament, which is probably not very many. If you just come to this tournament, show up half an hour before your tee time, practice putt and whatever, play your round, and then after your round, hang out for a little bit, and then go back to your hotel, you're blowing it big time. This is one of the best tournaments of the year, without a doubt. Anybody will tell you, and the majority of that reason that people say it's the best tournament is probably, besides the rated rounds that they get to play. Is that anywhere accurate at all? I mean, obviously, yes, Maple Hill Gold is a fantastic course, one of the best in the nation, but just the feel of everything around here when you're not playing your rated rounds. Yeah, pretty awesome.
Yeah, it seems to be like there's a lot of camaraderie there as far as when you're done. A lot of people hang out on 18, cheer on everyone coming in, cheer the good shots, kind of probably whisper behind people's backs at the bad shots and and things of that nature. So it seems like it's a really good, and I was there last year, so I know, so I'm kind of playing coy, but it seems like it's a really good environment for people.
Yeah, we are definitely missing the Frizzaks, though. Yeah, they're a group of guys from the New England area. They have grown up, had kids. They used to be a staple here at the Maple Open, Vibram Open, Marshall Street, all that. But they're a pretty wild crew, and it's a little bit quieter without them. So if you guys are out there listening, I miss you.
I don't think I have the pleasure.
Before your time.
Unfortunate. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Yep.
A little bit, just barely. Darn it.
Yep. So, do we got any other? We got any questions from the board, Johnny? Anything else people are wondering about?
The only thing I saw was asking if you guys are looking forward to Pittsburgh. Well, not necessarily you, Dana, but maybe AJ, because you're not going to be able to make it.
What?
Yeah, AJ. I'm having my wife and I made a human.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're cooking a baby.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So for those of you that don't know, my wife and I are having a baby girl, July 26th. That's Neil Swanson from Illinois. He's one of the favorites actually here for the ping pong.
To win the ping pong.
Yeah, Neil's solid.
Player,
He's an
hopefully.
Olympian hip.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm hoping everyone keeps their shirts on this time. A couple years ago, the shirts, was that last year? The year
I think
before?
it was the year before a sting pong battle broke
Yeah,
out.
shirts were off. Ricky, Neil Swanson. It got wild.
Yep.
Yeah, Jay Redding had. Oh yeah, it's.
So yeah,
I should stop.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Pittsburgh. I think it should be great. I've heard a lot of good things about the city. Obviously, it's the most livable city in America, something like that. Most livable, something.
Honestly, those polls, I hear so many things like that. Like I heard Madison is the most livable city in the country, and then you hear San Diego, and it depends on who you listen to.
San Diego is America's finest city. I'll tell you right now. Well, it's not the inner Ron Burgundy talking, but.
Well, everybody, I am going to sub out for the disc golf guy. He's going to hop in here. Him and AJ might talk for a second, and then I think we might have a very special three-time world champion guest.
Oh, that could be a couple different people.
Yeah, it could be. Nate Doss?
Ooh. Three-time
Des Redding,
world
I think,
champion,
right?
But,
that's what I said. Des Redding, Nate Doss.
Well, thanks everybody, and I'm gonna pass this on to Terry.
Good luck, Dana.
You guys have a good night.
Okay, and we're signing off of the SmashBoxx podcast. Bye, everybody.
Just those two are. Actually, we're hanging out because we're going to talk. Terry's going to talk with, my guess is he's going to talk with Paul McBeth, because Paul's been kind of hinting that he's going to come on. So oh, hi, Terry.
Johnny, you there?
I am here. I'm going to turn the show over to you for a little bit, because we found that talking over Skype with all the noise in the background tends to be a little distracting. So I'm going to let you speak with Paul while I go get a refill.
All right. Well, I'm not going to lie. I don't have any idea what they were talking about. Paul, scoot in just a little bit here. Anything we need to make sure we cover or not cover there, Johnny?
Nope. If Paul wants, there was a little bit of talk about the OB, of course, but not too much, because AJ didn't want to get into it that much if Paul was going to come on. So if just go ahead and talk about anything you want.
Oh, thanks. All right. Well, obviously, first and foremost, glad to be here on the show. It's been chaotic, as I'm sure AJ and the rest of the crew told you guys. It started as doubles game night, and you randomly got selected for different games to play. Me and my good buddy Ryan Tahiti ran off the first three games that we competed in, and then somehow lost the last two. So Wah, wah. All right, I'm joined, more importantly, though, I'm joined by our 3-time and current world champion, Paul McBeth. Paul, a little bit of Maple Hill madness tonight. You're taking part. What's going on?
After the round, I went and enjoyed a movie.
Okay, American Sniper?
Yeah, I didn't get to watch that last night. Dinner was a little too long.
Okay.
Yeah, I walked up here after the movie, and like I said, it was pretty chaotic, and I was trying to figure out what was going on, and I found out.
You're a lot like one of your card mates in Paul Ulibarri and in Ricky Wysocki, and that damn near everything you pick up you seem to be good at. So I don't know if it's really fair to have you up here competing in game night, but out of all the games up here, pool, shuffleboard, foosball, air hockey, skee ball, tell me which one, if you were going to say I'm ready to take on the world's best, which game would that be?
Probably air hockey.
Air hockey, wow, okay. That's, okay. I just saw a pretty intense battle. Neil Swanson, I don't know if you've seen Neil play ping pong. Him and Ricky Wysocki had a little sting pong a few years ago, and they were hitting ping pongs at each other, and they had welts all over their chest because Neil Swanson is a serious ping pong player. But anyway, air hockey is your game. Well, I'll be sure not to challenge you there. Now I'm gonna say it right now. I have gotten into racquetball, and I think there needs to be a video blog of you and me playing at least one match, because you say you're not that good at it. Have you played it ever?
Yeah, I played it a few times. I was just joking around.
You're good at it.
I'm pretty decent.
Oh, okay, never mind. I thought there was a chance I could genuinely beat you at something, but okay, so maybe racquetball's off the table. Let's talk a little bit about the play today. We in our closing interview from the show, we said that 52 and 50. Well, you shot a 53. The hottest score overall today was still only a 52. Greg Barsby, who's up here participating, he shot a 52. So all around, scores not quite as hot as yesterday. And can you attribute that to anything? I mean, you said maybe excitement, but that's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, with a 4-round tournament, you don't want to, use all your gas, I guess you can call it. Because there are 4 rounds, and for most of the people competing to win, with that cut. But I think you just want to come in after the first 2 days with 2 solid scores. You don't want to risk everything and try to shoot something in the 40s or low 50s. You don't want to risk all your shots and potentially go out of bounds. So I think it was kind of like one of those days where they just wanted to put in another score and potentially go into the 3rd round with a good place to move up.
Okay, no, fair enough. Now, I was thinking about, speaking of risking shots and scores, I'm working myself backwards in my head. Hole 18, you did not turn over your Star Destroyer as much as you had hoped, and you kind of finished in the Christmas tree area on hole 18. It was tough to tell your lie, but at any point did you consider just laying up, or did you knew you had a shot from over there?
When I stepped up to my lie, I could see the basket, or at least see part of the island.
Okay.
So I felt like if I could see the island, I could throw the disc there. And
Okay.
it was a little bit of a higher release than I wanted because of the Christmas trees, but I was able to still get the Nova to go straight. If it would have had a late turn, I think it would have gotten a little closer. But I'm not complaining because I did land on the island. And I was, pretty happy with that shot, that even after it hit the rocks, that it stayed safe.
Yeah, that just barely stayed safe, to be honest. I watched it from a different angle. It hit the rocks and kind of I thought it was going to roll back out of bounds, to be honest, because I watched a couple of them on there, hit right around there and come back. And yours stayed, so I was kind of thinking, those other guys must not love to watch that.
Well, maybe that's something to be said about the part rubber ring around the Nova or something like that helped it check up a little quicker.
I think also the fact that it was a putter. Most people are approaching with a mid-range or a driver with a sidearm, so I think the putter and the wood chips kind of help prevent that roll.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I was thinking, you've been under the biggest pressure situations on the planet. Some of those playoffs last year, namely the Worlds, of course, and the 5-hole playoff. You're stepping onto the wood chip green on 18. There's a gallery of, we'll say, 100-ish people, mostly your peers, mostly other golfers. And, of course, you're on SmashBoxx, all that stuff. do you in any way think to yourself like, oh, I got to make this, or better not miss this one, I'm on the green? Do you think anything like that?
Of course.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure you could go onto the video and see. I'm lining it up. I'm shaking a little bit.
Okay.
It's just the same feelings that most people get, but I'm still able to go through my routine in my head and physically show it. So I think just being able to do the routine over and over allows me to make those putts.
Yeah, do you feel like maybe that green is a little bit more, it's definitely rowdy. Do you feel like it's maybe even a little bit, I don't know what the word is. I want to say they're almost vicious. Not quite vicious, but do you feel like that green has a little more intensity on it because they've been sitting there watching shots come in all day? Does it feel different than any other gallery?
I think they're a little bit, they're willing to root, for good shots or bad shots. They just want to see something exciting.
Okay.
So I don't think it's really more nerve-wracking than most final holes, but just the crowd does get a little louder whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, they as some people have talked about, there seems to be some wagering going on if people are going to make it onto the green or not. I think there's a whole bunch of different games, and like you said, I think they're just excited to see some kind of excitement or some variety there. Working our way back, 17, that was pretty standard for you, great up and down, no problems with the birdie 3 there. But on 16, that had to be one of the longer deliberations that we've ever seen. Kind of talk people through it, because people saw it live. They saw a funny little clip of Yuli coming off the rock, but talk a little bit about your perspective and what was going on there.
Well, when I approached the lie, they said it was down in the swampy area, which the fairway is, pretty much swampy, and then we have the pond to the left on that hole, and there's no real defining line on where the lake starts and where it ends, because previous years we used to play a different tee pad, so there used to be a rope.
Yeah, you used to actually have to throw over in an opposite direction all the way over that pond, like 400 feet. And now it's more off on your left-hand side.
Yeah, and I guess they took the rope out once they switched the tee. And now it's kind of, the lake's starting to dry up and it's starting to get muddy and things like that. So there's no real defining line. But there's, like little peninsulas and strings of dry land that go out into the lake and things like that. So there's no real defining line. And my disc just happened to land in like one of the runoff areas from the other swampy area. So it was really tough to say whether it was in or out. And I immediately, we all got called over to the spot. And first thing when Yuli saw it, he said, "There's no defining line. I'm going to stay safe."
Okay.
And then Ricky walked over and said the exact opposite.
Okay.
And then Dan came over and was kind of like, "Yeah, benefit goes to the player." And of course, I wouldn't have asked them over there if I wasn't, kind of sure that it was inbounds.
Sure.
Because there was no line. And so we just talked about it for a while. Mike Downs was there, and he looked at it, but he said that he's not in the position to make that call.
Okay.
Because he does not know the defining lake line.
Yes. Okay.
So that there was just a big discussion on that, and Rick was really, against it being safe.
Okay.
And so we really just decided to, well, originally someone said they called Steve Dodge or texted him. And
yeah, there was a continuous barrage of calls and texts to Steve, and then we found out later his phone was dead.
And yep.
Yeah, so
we ended up going with the provisional. And the issue with the provisional was if it was casual water, if I go back, is that considered dry land? Is that dry land considered OB, or is it safe?
Yeah.
So then we had a whole nother issue about where I could take my casual, and then I just decided to step in the muck and throw out. And then when we did call the provisional for an out of bounds, I literally moved like 2 feet to the right and they called that safe. So it was kind of hectic, and we didn't really know what to do. But the way we called it, Steve Dodge said it was safe, and he completely agrees with the way that we originally called it being safe and not having a defining line. And he said next year he will have a line, but not this year.
Yeah, and I understand. And I asked the same question. I said, are you going to go out there and put a line out there for tomorrow? And he said, well, we don't really want to add additional confusion with somebody who may go out there and be in a similar spot, or they may have called themselves safe yesterday and not today, or vice versa. So we're going to let it play out as it is. We're going to keep it consistent for the weekend. And then, like you said, they'll go out there and fix it for tomorrow, or for next year. Sorry. it was interesting to see because you guys are three or four of the best players in the world. So to find that dynamic, and it almost even switched throughout. I mean, Paul kind of wavered a little bit. I mean, I know he jokingly said what he did, but he kind of even wavered a little bit. And there was just, if you looked at it, not literally, but, figuratively looked at it from a couple different point of views, there's a couple different ways you could really play that line. And I guess that's exactly why that rule is written. When in doubt, the benefit of the doubt goes to the player. So,
and that's one of those situations. It's really impossible to be wrong.
Yeah.
Every situation that you can picture could be the right answer.
Do you feel like if you were, I'll just say, a 980 rated player shooting 60 on pace to shoot 65, do you think there would have been less of a decision? There would have been less of a discussion as if you were inbounds or not? As in somebody may have just said, you're going to shoot a 68 today or 65. Let's just say not even you. Let's use someone else. A 980 rated player that was out there and maybe in their group, do you feel like maybe their group was like, oh, yeah, that's safe, just have it? I mean, are people trying to make sure they're not giving you any possible advantage already being so good?
I would hope not.
Okay.
If someone was out there, there would be an issue regardless, because if it is casual water, where do you play it from? If it is out of bounds, where do you play it from? Where is the defining line? So no matter what, I'm pretty sure every group that had that situation still had to make a call and have a little discussion on where to place the disc or where to play it.
Yeah, and again, there was so many things going on there, and thankfully, you guys really weren't one of the calls or criticisms coming in as well. You're creating a backup. Well, you weren't. There was actually a group of, I believe, 3 women that were holes and holes behind you, considerably back. So you weren't worried about, you guys weren't creating any kind of backup. In fact, you were probably pacing yourselves nicely so that you could play out 17 and 18 at a normal pace, which was a byproduct.
And that was something we pointed out. When we first were having this discussion, we're like, oh, well, we need to make the call. And we looked up, and the group in front of us is barely to their drives on 17. And we knew the women behind us were quite a ways back, at least like 3 or 4 holes. So we were just taking our time, making sure we made the right call. And if we could get the TD down, then we would. But, we could also use the provisional rule, which we
ultimately did. Yeah. So they used the provisional. Paul played it from, as he said, both scenarios. It was either going to be a 3 or a 4. And then after they had come in and turned in their scores, and then also shared the experience with Steve Dodge, again, because he didn't have his phone charged. Steve and Michael Downs from the PDGA took a gator. They drove down to the exact spot, and then that's where Steve took a look at it, and he made the decision. And there were no players even present during that. So that was all up to Michael Downs from the PDGA as well as Steve Dodge. So there was no additional influence or anything of that nature. And like you said, he came back with basically a no-brainer, saying, that's definitely safe.
Yeah, I waited up there. The other 3 left to go, do whatever they needed to do. And I just waited there until we got the right, call, and then put the score down and turned the card in. So Steve pretty much said the same thing. He wouldn't call that out of bounds on anyone, and he knows that he needs to have a defining line there next year.
Well, Steve finally needed some kind of criticism. I mean, he does just about everything else right here. Yeah. So he needed a criticism for next year. He's got to get a line out there.
He said put all the blame on him.
Okay, well, I think I do that during the broadcast anyway. Is there anything else that, kind of stood out to you earlier in the round, or, you want to talk about any other holes or shots that you were particularly fond of?
Hole 14's putt?
Ooh, it's hard.
Your putt on 14? Yeah. Now, Johnny, 14, and you do sound like, just so I think you know this, you sound like I don't know, you're coming from above or something.
Yeah,
but
sorry
anyway,
about that. Yeah.
Johnny, did you get a chance to replay his putt? Did you get a chance to replay his putt?
I believe
in slow-mo or anything?
Yeah, I believe I did. There was a lot of comments. I mean, as there always is, ice in your veins and whatnot. The typical kind of stuff. But was there any thought of laying up there at all, Paul? Because or were you relying maybe on the log, like that would stop you, I think, the day before?
No. What was it? I made a jump putt on 11, so I was feeling pretty confident with my jump putt. And then I missed a birdie putt on 13. I was about 35 feet away. And I knew exactly what I did wrong. I just didn't follow through on the putt, missed it.
You're a little high on that, actually.
Yeah,
Yep.
which is uncharacteristic.
A little bit, yeah.
When I don't follow through, it kind of comes out, wobbles, floats up in the wind. So I knew exactly what I did wrong. So when I stepped up to that putt on 14, I knew just follow through and it should go in. And if I missed it there, even if I laid up, if I missed it there, it was probably going to go in the water. But I knew I needed the strokes, especially coming into 15, 16, 17, 18, because they're easily birdieable holes, but you can easily birdie anyone or bogey any one of them as well. So it looked like it was right there, and I had to go for it.
Okay, and Daniel, I mean, I think I can answer that in the right situation he could, as I'm killing mosquitoes on set. Daniel on the board says, does Paul lay up? Can you think of a time when you last laid up?
Hole 13 yesterday.
Hole 13 yesterday, which is the downhill into the, the darker area. Where exactly were you? You were on the.
I was in the goalie, the second goalie. I was probably still 60, 70 feet away, but I didn't have a line at the basket. I kind of just had to maneuver my way to get to about 10, 15 feet away from the basket. So I did lay that up. But if I'm in that range, I do want to run it if I can.
One of the shots that we saw coming today, I'm just trying to think of another putt. I think it was, somebody had a nice long turnover putt. Was that Ulibarri on? It was early in the round. I'm trying to think of a few of the holes.
It was a turnover.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. It was a fade that then dropped into the basket. Dan, let's move over to Dan Hastings. Dan's a great player, rated 1,001, had a solid day yesterday. However, he's not a household name. And he's a little bit more regional. Obviously, he does really well out in New York in that area, and he's stepped up his game lately. But there's no knock on him by saying he's not a household name. Seemed like he kind of held his own. Did you think you might see a little bit more nerves out of him today on the leader card at this NT with live coverage and everything?
No, actually, the last time I played with Dan was at the Brent Hambrick last year when it was a national tour. And he was in the lead or on the leader card at least, and he ended up taking a 7 off the first hole. And a lot of it had to do with nerves. So to see him out here again on the lead card wasn't surprising, but to see how much he learned from that last time on a lead card at a national tour, was just, it's huge, to see the improvement. And, it's always nice to see that, seeing people that learn from what they've done in the past and being able to, come back the way he did. And I don't know exactly what he shot. You have it here.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up for you.
He should be top of second card, 9 under, tied for 5th. Yeah, so he did come in with a pretty solid score, and still kept it under par.
Yeah, he still kept it under par. He shot a 1 down. He had a few ups and downs, and unfortunately, he finished with the bogey. But he was on pace for somewhere in that 57, 58 range, had he not bogeyed the last hole. But that's why you play them all. Taking a look at some of the other scores, let's just briefly talk about some of your card mates we're going to see tomorrow. You're going to again be playing with Ricky Wysocki. We saw, as we said, Greg Barsby shot hot round. Greg Barsby shot hot round at -8, and then David Wiggins shot one of the hotter rounds as well, shooting a 6 down, including putting together 5 birdies in a row from holes, starting on hole number 1 through 5. So, and then finishing, holy cow, with the last 4 birdies in a row. So,
9 good, 9 bad.
Yeah, and a few pars in there and a few bogeys, but David Wiggins is going to be joining you on the leader card tomorrow. So we got 17 under, 15 under, a 12 under, and a 10 under. Sounds like a pretty fun group.
Yeah, I'm excited to play with Dave. I haven't seen him in a while. He doesn't get to travel much. I believe he's in school right now and on summer break, I'm sure, right now. And then Greg and Ricky I get to see every week. So, I mean, they're always Greg's always a pleasure to play with. Ricky's always a competition, so it's always exciting right there.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. One of the questions Daniel also had coming in off the board is, does Paul pay attention to the score while he plays, or do you kind of block it out until the end?
I try to block it out, but it's kind of hard. There's some situations where, like for 14, for example, had I been up 3 strokes going into the final round, I probably would have laid that up.
Sure. Okay.
But there's certain times to know the score, and there's certain times you just don't even need to worry about it. But usually, final round, sometime late in the final round, is usually when I'm checking the score. Knowledge.
One of the things that you talked about in an interview earlier today was that you feel like hole 2 you have really dialed in with your PD. You're throwing a slight turnover there. It kind of fades out, and both times you've been 6-8 feet from the pin. Any other hole out there that when you step up to it, you're like, yeah, I love this hole. I'm ready to birdie this. I mean, I know you're capable
Maybe hole
of birdieing
9?
everyone. Yeah, oh, Johnny, let's not go there now. But no, is there a hole that you're super excited to get up to it?
I love playing hole 5.
Okay.
I like
Yep.
that turnover. And hole 3, I really enjoy hole 3 because as soon as you let the disc go on that hole, you know whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, like I'm getting a 2 or I'm gonna scramble for a 3.
Yeah. But hole 8 is another one I enjoy throwing.
Yep.
Because if you get across that water, you got to putt.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like Johnny said, hole 9. I need to work on that one. Figure out something to do tomorrow. I might just play it down into the trees a little bit. Just try to get past that one tree and scramble from there.
I know. Again, and not to pick on you, but I know you were frustrated with it yesterday. You changed up your disc, a slightly different game plan, and you still nailed that tree right off of there. And it's not like you to make the same mistake more than once. So I was giving you a hard time about possibly you got to go cut that tree down tonight. No, you don't. No.
I'm here.
You're here. Yeah, he's got an alibi, folks. He was on SmashBoxx's podcast. So if that tree's gone tomorrow, he's got an alibi.
Hey, Paul, I got a quick
things,
question for you. There's a question from the board that says, what do you say? Do you ever talk to up-and-comers when you play with them, like during a tournament round? Like yesterday you played with Kelen, and he clearly had a rough round. Do you ever give him any words of encouragement during the round, or do you just kind of mind your own business and wait till after the round to speak with him?
I do talk to him quite often. I wish he was here right now. I did say a few things to him here and there. He was just up here a second ago. Well, he was right there. Think he remembers?
Yeah, he's right over there. I'm not sure.
Should we ask him? I think it'd be more interesting if we asked him. If he
All right. Hey, Kelen. We're going to see if we can get him over here just for a moment. Paul's going to graciously step aside for 2 seconds. Kelen, we've got you in here just for a few seconds. You're going to join our live podcast. Step inside the SmashBoxx, as I like to say. You're going to talk right up here. The question that came in from the board was, when Paul's playing with up-and-coming players or newer players or someone like yourself who had you were in the big time yesterday playing with some of the best in the world on live disc golf, streamed round. And the question was, does Paul say anything to up-and-comers? Any words of encouragement or anything like that? So loud and clear, if there's anything that you felt like he shared with you, we'd love to hear it.
Paul, almost the entire round, told me to just keep calm. Paul told me just keep calm and just keep moving on and just keep trying, just don't give up. He was constantly on my back about just staying positive and not getting down on myself, and it helped because I could have shot a lot worse. And like Paul just sat there and just, even though I was shooting bad, like he still played great, and like he just sat there and just told me to just stay calm and just play good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're certainly along those lines. We were all encouraging you and really excited to see you playing there. Was it just a little bit of nerves on 18 with that big gallery? I know that like your 2 putters were exactly like in your line for the style of throw that you wanted, and 2 inches lower and you would have maybe even made the first one. Were you getting a little nervous or frustrated knowing you had that big gallery with everybody there?
Frustrated, definitely nervous. I can't say nervous.
No. Okay, that's awesome. Well, and I think that's great, because if that means the nerves were gone, everybody gets frustrated. But the fact that you got over the nervousness, I think, is really awesome.
Yeah, after the first 3 holes, I was actually over the nervousness.
Awesome. Good. Now, for anyone that's out there watching, or any of your fan base, before we let you go, is there anyone you want to say anything to, or how were you received yesterday? I mean, did you have friends or family or other people watching you play? From SmashBoxx, from out on the internet?
I have no idea if anyone was watching me play yesterday. I know my dad was following me around the entire day, and he's helped me out a lot. So I'd like to thank my dad. I'd like to thank my brother Dylan for getting me into the sport, and I'd like to thank my sponsor, Innova Champion Discs.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, we're going to let you step back out. We're going to wrap up with Paul here. But again, thanks for being on yesterday. How'd it go today, real quick? Better.
Not 2 strokes better, not too much better.
All right.
73.
All right, well, keep improving and enjoy your round out there tomorrow, pal. All right?
You got it, Terry.
All right.
Thank you.
There you go. That's Kelen Durn. We're going to have Paul just for a few more moments before we wrap things up. If we can, we may or may not catch up with Mr. Barsby as well. He had one of the hotter rounds, as we said. Somebody on the board asked if he had hated his new nickname. He's been called Keegs. I don't know if he hates that or not. I don't think he should. Sounds pretty harmless to me. But anyway, so yeah, awesome. He said that you were very encouraging of everything he was doing. And how does that work? He's caddied for you, and then here we are a couple years later. He's out here a year later, and he's playing against you. You don't see that too often.
Barella.
Yes, okay, that little guy, huh?
Yeah, so it's the second time.
Okay. He, Anthony Barella, a recent champion at the United States Amateur Disc Golf Championships. What's his plan? I think you know him probably better than most of the touring people or pros out there, and better than myself. What's his plan? Anthony, that is.
I think he wants to win Am Worlds.
Okay.
I think that's his main focus, and it has been pretty much all year since I've been talking to him. He really wants Am Worlds. He wants to bring it back to Arizona, really.
Okay.
And it's just he's 14 years old or 15 years old. So.
And is it funny that everyone kind of heckles or hassles him a little bit about where he is and how he's doing too well, and then you think back, man, this kid's 14, like. Yeah. He's got a lot of growing to do.
Yeah, so, and he is literally growing. I think there's a picture from last year where I was an inch or two taller than him, and now he's got me by an inch or two. So, he's growing in the sport, and I don't blame him for playing amateur. He's, like I said, 14, 15 years old. There's no reason for him to move up this early, especially still being in high school. And if he wants to keep playing amateur, that's his decision. It's his money. And he gets to do what he wants with it. So I don't blame him at all, and I don't think any young player should move up.
Too soon before they're ready.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure there's a lot of nerves going into it when you're playing pro, and then if you're good enough and playing on a national tour lead card, you don't know how to handle it. Maybe they won't like it as much or things like that. So there's no reason that he should move up unless he really wants to.
I mean, I've seen it myself. Sometimes the pro division's not as fun as some of the other divisions. You might be able to win cash. There's some more notoriety, but sometimes it can be a little harsh out there. So, he like you said, he should come into it on his own. You've got fans out there that have been watching this week. Live and otherwise, anything that you've been seeing coming in from everyone out there, of your fan base, words of encouragement, or people that are watching, or anything like that?
Yeah, always. I try to read, what people say as much as possible, whether it's good or bad. But I always try to stay in the loop, and I get to read most messages that people send to me. I don't always get to respond as much as I'd like to, but I do see the things that people say. So I really enjoy the encouragement and things like that. So just keep it coming, and I'll just keep trying to get better and better.
I don't know about you getting better and better. That's ridiculous. Right here, we're at the turn. We're halfway through this tournament. You've pulled out to a little bit of a lead. You've got 2 strokes, and with a competitor like Wysocki 2 behind you, and even Barsby at 5 behind you, we all know. There could be a 2-7 swing on hole number 5. I mean, anything can happen out here. I mean, there's a lot of different holes with a lot of different trouble. But you got to be comfortable knowing you got a little bit of a lead. You also have set a good pace for yourself. I mean, do you see yourself just trying to maintain that?
Yeah, I just want to go out there and shoot a good round. I feel like if I shoot a good round, like a 53 today or anything a little bit better, that'll definitely keep me up there in the mix, especially with Rick. He can shoot a 49, but if I'm still shooting a 53 or 52, I'm still only 1 or 2 behind him.
Exactly.
So I just want to come in with a good round, and then whether I'm leading or not going into the final round, that's when it all matters. So I want to put it all on the table then.
Now, speaking of weather, you said weather or not. I'll go to literally the weather. Have you checked any of the weather for the next 2 days?
I did, and it didn't look fun.
Well, if it doesn't look fun for you, it looks even less fun for us. I'm going to see if I can really quickly pull up.
I hope I'm wrong, but I think it said 100% for Sunday, and then 60
for tomorrow?
Or 60 or 20. Either 60 was today or 60 is tomorrow, but there was no rain today, so hopefully they're way off.
Yeah, let's.
Or I'm way off.
Yeah, no, we've kind of been talking about it throughout the day. There's been a variety. I see a bunch of green here on the screen, not our green screen, but I see a bunch of green coming through. Way off over here. We'll see if we can pull up the weather. Johnny, anything else you need to share with Paul before we let him go? Things that have come in from the board, or any other questions or chatter that you saw online today?
No, I don't think so. You're either rooting for or against Paul. I know it sounds crazy, but some people like to root for underdogs. Some people like to root for the champion. I've seen a lot of things of people saying, they want Paul to win because they like to watch a dominant player. And then again, you see people say, I'm rooting for X, Y, or Z because they're rooting for an underdog. So it's really 50-50 out there.
Yeah, you got kind of an X on your back because you are the best rated player and you have been so dominant this year. Have you finished outside of third even this year? No. No. No.
Yeah, but like you said, I'm a sports fan, so I always like rooting for the underdog. So I don't blame others.
Yeah.
It's always fun to watch exciting golf or any other sport, whether win or lose. As long as it's a good competition, I enjoy it.
All right, I'm pulling up here real quickly. As of 1 o'clock, it is 1 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. It's showing 0% chance of rain. And then, right at 2 o'clock, right just about when you tee off, it shows about 20% chance of rain. Looks like we're going to have medium humidity, around 47, 53%, somewhere in that neighborhood. 68 degrees, which is perfectly cool, perfectly fine. But it says cloudy, and then it looks like a chance of showers increases by around 6 p.m. So if this holds, you guys may be off the course, and we can have a solid day out there.
Very similar to today.
Yes. Did you feel a single or any raindrops at any point?
No, just
all right.
Feet.
Just before you guys walked up on hole number 13, we had stood down for 11 and 12, and we were just about to walk off on hole number 13. I felt literally a single raindrop. I'm like, I'm going to feel a handful. I felt one. Either that or our cameraman spit on me, one of the two. But I think I felt a single raindrop, and then that was it. So I'd take a single raindrop tomorrow as well. That would be just fine. I am looking at Sunday's weather, or attempting to here. And I don't like when I see heavy rain anywhere in the forecast.
No, Sunday's looking pretty bad.
Yeah, it looks like about 85% chance. By 1 o'clock, it's down to 75% chance, and it says light rain. It may be manageable. We're going to have some work to do on our end from a camera crew perspective. So,
Can you do 8 more hours?
Let's do the next link here.
Oh, it calms down a little bit.
And it looks like it possibly. Again, this is, almost 40 hours out. So I guess we won't get too worked up as to what it's going to say. But, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. I did want to make a quick announcement. AJ Risley, the Disc Golf Boy, should have the round 1 coverage completely uploaded. That is on the Disc Golf Guy YouTube channel. So you can watch all of round 1 in a shortened version. And he has already pretty much edited round 2, and that should be up even earlier tomorrow. We wanted to get both of those up as soon as possible so that you're able to digest it a little bit quicker each day. So look for that by tomorrow before we go live there as well. All right, I think now is as good a time as any that we can wrap this thing up. We're glad that you could sit in and join us. You're gonna what is it? It's about 10:30, and you're parked about 200 feet away. Anything else on the agenda tonight? Catch up with maybe your favorite girlfriend or your only girlfriend.
Yes.
And
don't get me in trouble.
Hi, Jennifer. But catch up with her and then probably get a nice good night's sleep.
Yeah, hopefully that's the plan. And tell her good luck. She has a tournament this weekend, the Oklahoma State, I think, overall championships, something like that.
Okay.
I don't know the details, but it's the overall event, so she'll be tossing a lid around as well.
Awesome. That's always awesome to see. I'm a big fan of the overalls myself. All right, Johnny, last shots. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
No, you're not even paying attention? Good. No, I'm just kidding. All right, well, then I'm going to wrap things up. I have no idea what AJ and what Dana talked about. Hopefully it was all relevant could have been way better than what we normally do. I don't know. But hopefully everyone enjoyed having them on the show. I'd like to thank my partner in crime tonight, Ryan, who also fixed a camera lens for me once I broke it. That's another story. I'd like to thank Joe Height, who is on the camera today, Todd Dodge, who was on our camera, as well as Ryan Heedy, who was running around helping out for the day. AJ Risley was on another camera for us and doing some editing. Steve Dodge, the amazing TD. I'd like to thank all 4 of our card mates. Our card members, not my card mates, but our card members. I'd like to thank Johnny V back at the controls in Milwaukee. And last but not least, I'd like to thank our leader here, Paul McBeth, for joining us tonight. We're looking forward. We're going to go live at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time again tomorrow. We'll give you a few of the tee shots, a few of the interviews, and then we'll follow these guys around and watch Paul take on the Maple Hill Gold Course for the 3rd time this week. So for Paul McBeth and Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, and everyone else out there, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time when you step inside the Smash Box.